Masechet Hullin Daf Amud Aleph, 5 lines down. We're still talking about the Mishnah in regards to talking about which cases the Mishnah was talking about, whether it was Chulin, Kochim, or was it Chulin that is prepared as if it's Kochim. Ula says, Havrai Amrei, my fellow rabbis said, the Chulin Shina Asul Zad Kodesh, that the Mishnah is referring to a case where it's non-Kadosh foods that's prepared on the level of Kiddusha. Udlo Kribi Yeshua, not like Kribi Yeshua, because he would hold that it cannot become a level 3 Shlishi, Tuma. Vana, I mean like Rabbi Yeshua, but I hold like Rabbi Yeshua. The only way I come and therefore, how do I explain how Yeshua's statement at the end of the Mishnah that Cholin that is Shishi is still Tamid, as if it was prepared on the level of Tumah rather than Kodesh. Why? Because I learned the Mishnah in the format of it, it's not necessary to say, "Lo, Kodesh." It's not necessary to say in the case of Hulin that's prepared on the level of Kodesh, the Hamiri that we're strict on. The Eight Shlishi, there is a Shlishi. Ela afilu Hulin Shna Asua Tarab Tirma. Even to Hulin that was prepared on the level of Tirma, which is not as high, Nami Ilu Shlishi, even hold that is a Shlishi. Man Havre, who's his fellow rabbis? Rabbi Bar Hanai to Gorintain, Rabbi Bar Habar Yochanan. What did they end up answering to each other into their in each opinions? Masinu Ochel Chamor Min Ochel. We find in the Torah someone who eats tameh food is chayav more than the bird in chiyuv and tumah more than the food itself. The ilu nivala of tabrahos because technically the nivala of a kosher bird, the non dead animal, non-slaughtered body of a kosher bird is tahor on the outside. The Lamas doesn't make anything to me. However, if you eat it, as we know, makes you have tuma in their clothing when you swallow it. Ma'anu, Hamim who said that tuma on a person is chayav for any tameh food. How can we say that the person over here, if he's eating the food, he should be chayav at least the same level? So therefore, Rishon equals Rishon, Shani equals Shani, etc. Yeshua says no. I mean, don't bring a proof from a bird. The Hidush, because that concept is a Hidush. Right? It's an anomaly. Right? The fact that you're eating something makes you tameh. Okay. And therefore, we see cases that the food which touches tameh food is more machmir than if you ate it. Dilu ma'achal kvetza, for a food that is the size of an egg that touches v'ochel ada achil kasipras. But if you want to eat tameh food to make it tameh, it's not chayav until it's a half a pras, which is double size. So we see touching the tuma for food is more chamor than eating it. But I know, and then hech nase ochel k'ma'achal. How can we say, you know what? Oh, it's equal. The food in touching the food, and equal food's equal. Does it make sense? Because our conclusion has the argue. Tuma may sure eat not we can't bring proofs of tuma from measurements. But another problem. The Verecha, according to what you just said, that tama food is more strict than eating it. If you're saying a person who eats a shani should become a shani, great, that makes sense. Shani shani lamli. But then why would a person who's eating shani become shani? Should be less. Amali says, Matsinu shashani asa shani ali de mashkin. We've seen shani make other level twos via liquids. Where it says Zamalo, Vahamashkin Namit Tehila Havu, but the liquids are also considered a rishon. The Tanakh Mishnah says, Kolah was able to run anything possible through contact. Metamem Mashkin Liot Tehila. The liquids can make it like a rishon. Hot Mitzvah except for Tivayom. Tivayom is a person who is he dipped in the mikveh, he was demei in the mikveh, he has to wait for nighttime to become tahor. So if he touches something, he doesn't make liquids a rishon. Oh, another question. Shlishi Shani Lama. Why do you say it's Shlishi that he becomes a Shani? Technically, it'd be more Chamur. Allah says, I'm not, I was referring to the Tiruma. Person who eats a Shlishi, that type of food should become a Shani. Shetaharata, because in the case of Tahara, Tuma hi etel HaKodesh. That Tuma, in regards to Kedusha, is comparable. Meaning, that was, Tahara, in cases of those who eat Tiruma, is not equivalent to those who eat Kedusha, Kadosh foods. And therefore, someone who eats something tahor, for those touching something tahor, which is, but it's high, it's held on a higher level for kedusha like truma. then that's held to a higher standard if you're not being careful with it. So therefore, the food of a teruma that is a mere is that's only a shlishi would be considered a sheni by the kodusha. So therefore, if you're eating it, you become a sheni for kodesh as if you ate an actual sheni. So you don't eat the whole chumrah. So we see that what only for taharav teruma, you're treating it as teruma, that could become a shlishi. But holding for kodesh cannot become a shlishi. It would be a sheni. Okay, that's the proof that this he was arguing against Rabbi Yeshua. Marba Yezra, Marba Sim, Marba Yochanan, Marba Yanai. Achel Shishi Shahodin Shna Asu Tarat Kodesh. If someone eats a shishi of Shahodin, level 3 Chodin, that was prepared for Kiddusha level. Nasa Gufo Shini the Kodesh, his body becomes a Shini for Kiddusha. Tuma. That's even as I said, Shishi, the Shini the Kodesh, and Shini Tuma. But we say you only become a Shini for Kiddusha, not for Kadosh, not for Tuma. Bechlin Shna Asa Tuma only applies someone who prepared it for Tuma. Ka'aturat Tuma, not Tarat Kodesh, no, only if that for Tuma, but not for Tarat Kodesh stuff. So why you say that the Tarat Kodesh also be Shishi? I said, let me buy a kamar. No, he meant it's not necessary to say. Meaning, it's not necessary for a case where the Hullin prepared for to a Kodesh. For sure, it can come to Shishi, but even in case of Truma also. Because but he specifically said that's not. You can't say he's referring to both. He said I only said it over here. Where it says Amorah hinenu aviv l'Rechman tzemach. I'll go to Avoraim what Rabbi Yochanan held. Okay. Amar Ula said Achel shishi shahalin shnasu l'trat truma. Someone eats the shia halin that's prepared in the level of truma. Nifsal gufam l'echol b'truma. He can no longer eat truma. Michael Mashanim was Hidush. Tina Mishnah says clearly. Shishi in the Kodesh v'enshin truma. Becholin shnas l'trat kodesh truma. Enshani Yehud le'aveh hashishi have it. Because proof from there. It says Ima he if you learned from that Mishnah. Have a minute lo shani have the shishi v'lo shani. You wouldn't be either shishi or shani. Be added the Mar shani kodesh since he mentioned a level 2 by Kiddusha. Aman Avami and shani l'kurah. Therefore you might say okay, there's no such thing as shani by Tiruma. Mashanim full told us that eating a shishi is considered a shishi for Tiruma. Etzver huna lula harishon sheba'olin tameh metameh. A rishon of cholin is tameh, and it makes someone else tameh into level 2. Shani. Vashani posel animal tameh, but level 2 does not make a number 3. Makes it pasul, but it doesn't make a level 3 because you can't make a 3 by cholin. Vashlishi necha ben zid hademah. And a shlishi can be eaten even with a stew with tiruma in it. I mean, there's no such thing as tuma in it. Tiruma in it, sorry. You can eat it with tiruma because there's no tuma. Now, if you want to say it has to be kept, obviously has to be kept to the level of Tarav Turma. So if you want to say, if you want to say Shashi of Cholin, that's the level of Turma, it makes you pasul from eating Turma. Safin and Len, the Basil the Gove, how can you let him eat Turma in his stew? If that makes him masur to eat it. Rashi says, Amaleh, Hanach Lenzid the leave that case of the stew with Turma in it. Because when he's eating it, he is never eating the full amount. It's bits and pieces. He's never eating the 2 eggs probably at the same time. Someone eats a shashi of actual truma. You can't eat truma, but you're allowed to touch it. Now, Ula says the same thing by cholim. We both halachot. Dini learn from Ula. Have I mean maybe you would think it only applies to cholin shnasu truma by cholin for a shashi of cholin for truma level. About truma v'negiya nami also. Maybe if you ate truma itself, it'd be pasul to touch truma. Easy, the Rebbe if you mention the Rebbe usually allowed to touch it. But I only mention the Rebbe have been a determinant. Maybe only pass the Turma. Cholin ba'achila. Now you heard about if he ate a shishi of cholin that was for a tahora of Turma. Maybe you're allowed to eat Turma. Therefore, it's really but that's over. No,